Our oceans, once teeming with life, are facing a silent crisis. The beauty and diversity of marine life are being overshadowed by an ever-growing threat. Pollution, a relentless threat, is jeopardizing the delicate balance of these underwater worlds. Every year, millions of tons of plastic waste find their way into the ocean, causing untold harm to marine creatures. From the sunlit surface to the deepest trenches, the consequences of our actions are echoing through the marine environment. The once pristine waters are now tainted with pollutants that affect even the most remote corners of the ocean. This is not a distant problem. It's a global emergency that demands our immediate attention. Communities around the world are beginning to recognize the severity of the situation and are taking steps to combat this crisis. The health of our oceans is inextricably linked to our own survival. The oceans provide us with oxygen, regulate our climate, and are a source of food and livelihood for millions. We have a responsibility to protect these precious ecosystems for the sake of marine life and for generations to come. Education and awareness are key to fostering a sense of stewardship in the younger generation. The time to act is now, before the damage becomes irreversible. Every small action counts, from reducing plastic use to participating in cleanup efforts. We must turn the tide against pollution and safeguard the future of our blue planet. Together, we can make a difference and ensure that our oceans remain vibrant and full of life for future generations. Pollution's grip on our oceans is staggering. Millions of tons of plastic enter the marine environment each year. Chemicals from industrial waste and agricultural runoff contaminate our waters. Oil spills devastate marine ecosystems, leaving behind a trail of destruction. These pollutants don't simply disappear, they persist in the environment, accumulating in the food chain and ultimately impacting us. The sheer scale of the problem can feel overwhelming, but it's crucial to remember that every action counts. Plastic, a ubiquitous material in our lives, has become a scourge on the marine environment. Every minute, the equivalent of a garbage truck full of plastic enters our oceans. This plastic waste doesn't biodegrade. It breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces called microplastics. These microplastics are ingested by marine life, from tiny plankton to large whales, wreaking havoc on their digestive systems. The images of seabirds entangled in plastic six-pack rings and sea turtles suffocating on plastic bags are a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of our plastic addiction. While plastic pollution is highly visible, chemical pollution poses a more insidious threat. Agricultural runoff carries fertilizers and pesticides into our waterways, creating massive dead zones where marine life cannot survive. Industrial waste often ends up in our oceans, contaminating the water with heavy metals and other toxic substances. These chemicals accumulate in the food chain, poisoning marine life and ultimately posing a risk to human health. The long-term consequences of this chemical soup are still being understood, but the evidence so far is deeply concerning. Section 5, Black Tides, the devastating legacy of oil. Oil spills, while often accidental, have catastrophic consequences for marine ecosystems. The Deepwater Horizon disaster in the Gulf of Mexico in 2010 released millions of barrels of oil into the ocean, killing marine life, damaging sensitive habitats and impacting coastal communities for years to come. Even smaller spills can have a devastating impact on local ecosystems. The oil coats the feathers of seabirds, preventing them from flying and insulating themselves. It suffocates fish and other marine life, and the toxic chemicals in the oil can have long-term effects on their health. Section 6, Silence Falling, the plight of marine life. Marine life is facing a barrage of threats from pollution. Our oceans, once teeming with vibrant life, are now becoming graveyards of plastic and toxic waste. The pollutants are not just an eyesore, they are deadly to marine creatures. Coral reefs, often called the rainforests of the sea, are dying off at alarming rates due to pollution, climate change, and other factors. These reefs are vital as they provide shelter and food for a vast array of marine species. Their loss signifies a broader ecological collapse. Fish populations are dwindling due to overfishing and habitat destruction. Overfishing not only depletes fish stocks but also disrupts the entire marine food chain, leading to a cascade of negative effects on the ecosystem. Marine mammals, including whales, dolphins, and seals, are ingesting plastic and becoming entangled in fishing gear. These majestic creatures suffer immensely, often leading to painful injuries or death. The sight of a whale washed ashore with a stomach full of plastic is becoming all too common. The delicate balance of ocean ecosystems is being disrupted, with potentially catastrophic consequences for the entire planet. The health of our oceans is intrinsically linked to the health of our planet, affecting weather patterns, food security, and even the air we breathe. The loss of biodiversity in our oceans is not just a tragedy for the natural world, it also threatens the livelihoods of millions of people who depend on the ocean for food and income. Coastal communities, especially in developing countries, are facing economic hardships as fish stocks dwindle and marine resources become scarce. Section 7. A ripple effect from ocean to our plates. The pollution of our oceans is not just an environmental issue, it's a human health issue as well. The seafood we consume is contaminated with microplastics, heavy metals, and other pollutants. This contamination can have serious health consequences, including hormonal disruption, reproductive problems, and even cancer. The economic impacts are also significant. The tourism industry, which relies heavily on healthy oceans, is already feeling the effects of pollution. Coastal communities are facing declining fish stocks, polluted beaches, and the loss of natural beauty that draws visitors from around the world. Section 8. Turning the tide, a call for collective action. Addressing the complex issue of ocean pollution requires a multifaceted approach. Governments need to implement stricter regulations on industrial waste disposal and agricultural runoff. Industries need to develop more sustainable practices and reduce their reliance on single-use plastics. And we as individuals must also play our part. We can make conscious choices to reduce our plastic consumption, properly dispose of waste, and support organizations working to protect our oceans. Education and awareness are crucial. We need to educate future generations about the importance of ocean conservation and inspire them to become stewards of our blue planet. Section 9. Our Blue Legacy. Choices for a healthier future. The future of our oceans and indeed our planet depends on the choices we make today. Every decision, no matter how small, has a ripple effect on the health of our marine environments. We can continue down a path of unsustainable practices, jeopardizing the health of marine ecosystems and our own well-being. The consequences of inaction are dire, leading to the loss of biodiversity and the collapse of vital ecosystems. Or we can choose a different course, one that prioritizes conservation, sustainability, and the protection of our oceans for generations to come. By making conscious choices, we can ensure a healthier, more resilient ocean. The time for complacency is over. We must recognize the urgency of the situation and take decisive action. We must act now with urgency and determination to turn the tide against ocean pollution. This requires a collective effort from individuals, communities, and governments worldwide. The legacy we leave behind will be a reflection of the choices we make today. Education and awareness are key to inspiring the next generation to continue the fight for a healthier planet. Let us choose to be the generation that restores our oceans to health and ensures a vibrant future for all life on Earth. Together we can make a difference and create a sustainable world for future generations.